What
Yeah.
show this is
Well,
tonight?
my green screen ain't working. Can you hear me?
I can
Can you
hear.
hear?
Yes, I
Oh,
can.
okay. All
Mission
right.
control over to
Yeah,
Joseph. Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
my
over to the
background was.
mothership.
There we
Yeah.
go. Now my background's working. Yeah. What the bleep did you bring me into?
I just, I just. Oh my God.
That's right. Did somebody slip you
I.
some magic
I
mushrooms?
no, no, they don't. Look, it's not even on my list. Okay, on my story list for tonight. It's like I just came up with it.
Yeah.
It's just. I was thinking too. I didn't even. This wasn't on my list, but I was thinking about it when I was walking Cosmo. You know, these pro-Palestinian protesters, right, Joseph? They're like when they left, like Gaza after the bombings. I mean, it looks like a shithole.
No,
Okay, it's like like what the hell with these
yeah.
people?
I,
Like,
ju- I just dropped my constitutionalist politics show this morning titled "The Issue is Never the Issue." You know the old the cause is not the cause. The cause is only power, control, the revolution, more tyranny.
yeah.
And the next 2 weeks, there'll be subsequent pieces, continued left wing violence, and let them keep pushing generational shift occurring follow ups, kind of a 3-part series. And yeah, I forget which of the 3 episodes because I've recorded them all already. I go into that. Yeah, it looks, these left wing loons who claim to be envirotards,
It's just
it
yeah.
looks like a war
I
zone.
know. It's like if you want to turn your university into a shithole, just invite all these lunatics to enroll. It's like,
Yeah.
and then let them do their thing, and they'll just turn it into a great big shithole.
Yeah,
That's what they've done.
and the man on the street style interviews again demonstrates a lot of these people are just there. They have no clue why they're there. They
Yeah.
just want to be right. They know to parrot free Palestine, but ask them, where was there ever a Palestinian nation? Blank stare. Who was an emperor, prime minister, president, whatever of Palestine? Blank stare. Never existed. Never was one. Where did the term Palestinian come from? They have no idea the history of the Roman emperor, labeling them from biblical Philistines occupying Judeo land that the Romans displaced. They were occupiers, and it was a slur the Romans gave them. They don't know anything but to parrot Free Palestine.
Well, it's got a good rhythm and a good beat and you can dance to it. So it's like, and I'm sure there are a lot of heads blowing up because of what you just said. If you listen to, I don't know, Max Blumenthal or Richard Medhurst, Enemy of America, um, you know, they'll tell you a completely different tale. So two very opposing or opposite points of view, Joseph. Do you care to elaborate on what you've said about Palestine not ever really being a real nation state?
Well, again, show me any map where there was a nation of Palestine. Yes, some maps, including from the British, labeled a Palestinian territory, again, based on the Roman emperor label and designation of such. No such nation existed. 5 times they were offered a Palestine nation. 5 times.
That's actually
The
10, Joseph.
yeah,
Okay.
you're
Sorry,
right.
man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, 5 times. One
Now
hand,
you're
five
now
fingers.
now
Yeah.
now now you're an evil Mason, okay?
Oh,
And part of the Rothschilds clan. because that's, oh, now I am too. I'm sorry.
Oh, well,
Oops.
white power, brother, white power, right? Yeah. Oh, God Almighty,
Well, you're
please.
A-okay with me, so it's all right.
But no, 5 times they were offered a Palestinian nation to be formed. They rejected it
It's true.
every single time.
That's true.
Now, in Gaza, indeed, Hamas was elected by the people. They had peace. They had self rule. Israel was out of it. Who broke that peace? They did on October 7th. So you don't get to dictate the terms of Israeli surrender when they are defeating you after you started the war. And now that you're losing, you want them to surrender. What? That's not how these things work.
Well, I'm glad we got you back on here tonight to share your views on it. We've had so many people opining on this, not just here, but on, everywhere. Everybody seems to have an opinion on this one way or another, and I hear a lot of different versions of history when it comes to Palestine. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, show me it in the history books. Again, I could show you on a map a Palestinian territory labeled by the British based on the Roman Emperor declaration of such, but never, ever a nation. Show me one Palestinian nation minted coin. Show me. Show me the proof. Show it to me.
Well,
I've got facts. They've got feelings and preferred narratives.
yeah, and a conscious decision to ignore the outcome of, like, World War II.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, I know they didn't win the war. You're just a bunch of colonizers.
Well,
Would pick your war. Like, they just ignore it. They want to relitigate today, and as though this is what I'm saying. So
I'm glad you used that term, right? Leftist idiocy. You're a bunch of colonizers. Say the people occupying land that doesn't belong to them to protest on. A colonization, if you will. They will not understand the hypocrisy of it because they don't know the words except for what they want to twist and manipulate them to be. And again, all of history is one group
it's just
invading another group. The Native Americans weren't pure, living on the land in peace and harmony. What belonged to the Cherokee once belonged to the Blackfoot, once belonged to the whatever other tribe. They took land back and forth from each other too. So spare me your ignorance of history.
And if you want to talk about the First Nation stuff, we could really dig into it in another program, because what we've seen here happening here in Canada is the Prime Minister and the Liberals up here in Canada, like, they are rewriting treaties. They've rewritten now, I think, 26 of them, which now those 26 treaties cover about 40% of the landmass of Canada. So, and they're going to continue to go. They just had another news conference Thursday, I think it was, to talk about this. I ran clips from it with Justin Trudeau. This is transformative as well, and this is. I haven't read these treaties. I want to. I've read some of the old ones, and but there's a much bigger story behind all of this, and that's why they were at McGill University in Montreal, and the chant that was broadcast here live when our good friend and contributor Dragon was out there doing great work, live streaming from McGill. You could hear the chant. From Turtle Island to Palestine, occupation is a crime. So what does that mean? Do you know what Turtle Island is? It's all of North America and part of Central America, which means they want all of that land returned. Anybody who's here that they deem to be a colonizer, I guess, has to go or pay rent, or I don't know what it is. So where does that go?
And again, they use occupied, occupation from people who are doing what? Invading a piece of property and occupying it that doesn't belong to them. They won't get it. They will never get it. They can't see beyond their slogan to understand the hypocrisy.
Except that I think that the people organizing these things, the real driving forces behind it, do understand because they're getting what they want. They just renegotiated, or I think almost unilaterally agreed to. Like, the government was like, "Yeah, we're just going to rewrite these treaties. We have the United Nations Declaration of Rights for Indigenous Peoples. We have a growing anti-colonialist movement. They've started to inject this ideology, these teachings, this rewriting of history into our all of our schools and institutions. You have re-education. The re-education camps of today, honestly, are in corporate America, corporate Canada. It's injected into the corporate culture. When you get a job at any big company now, and you'll have to go through some sort of sensitivity training. I think it's pretty much routine everywhere now. If you get a job at a bank or even at a major grocery store chain, they have some sort of left-wing, woke, progressive training regimen that you have to go through.
Yeah. Well, let's talk history of the U.S. too, because, I'm all for all history, the good, the bad, and the ugly. A lot of bad stuff happened here. I'm not for whitewashing it, right? But let's look at some of it, right? Who fought to keep slavery? Democrats. Who enacted Jim Crow laws? The Democrats. Who peddled segregation then and are peddling it again now? They want black only this or black only that or Asian only this and that.
Segregation.
George Wallace. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. Democrat, 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 Democrat. Let's go back to the Native Americans. The Trail of Tears. Who was that? A Democrat president. So I'm all for us talking about our bad history. FDR and his concentration camps, though nobody was put into gas ovens, of course, a Democrat. So I'm all for talking about the history. Let's talk about the history. The left doesn't want anyone to know history because it reflects negatively that they did all the bad shit.
Well, today I just see a lot of racism and bigotry that's masked with wokeism and diversity, and language that seems like it's supposed to be tolerant, but it's actually the opposite. It's incredibly intolerant, and it divides people and pits people against each other. And look where we're at. Everybody's fighting.
In both of my next 2 week Saturday drop shows, Constitutionalist Politics 47 and 48, continued left-wing violence, I touch on it. I go into it more on let them keep pushing generational shift occurring. Because, right, D-I-E, not D-E-I, D-I-E, because it's about killing Western culture. Let's look at the segregation thing again. I forgot. Who was it that blocked blacks from going to schools? Democrats. Who is it blocking Jews from going to universities? Democrats. Segregation and blockading and racism or classism, whatever. But diversity, let's examine that. The U.S., and let me include Canada in that too, are the most diverse nations this planet has ever fucking known. We are known as what? E pluribus unum, from many one. the melting pot. Everybody came here. We're diverse, you morons. You're not for diversity. You're only about, again, like today's CTV show. The issue is never the issue, only how it can be twisted for the commie revolution. We are the most diverse nation on the planet. We blended, we melted, we became a new unique culture. We didn't steal from the Spanish, the French, the Mexicans, and we all came together, and out of love and homage, we adopted parts of each other's cultures to create one new unique one. The I of DIE, inclusion. We already went over the segregation. They're not about inclusion. As with everything, the left, it's a lie. The issue is never the issue, only the revolution. More power, division for power and control. Everything the left peddles is a lie.
Oh, and I see that my good friend Mouth of the South is leaving after, as usual, coming into my house with his muddy boots on, putting them up on my coffee table and then onto my sofa, and then running around and trashing my house and smashing my furniture the way he does every single night, and just comes here to cause problems and destroy the channel. So I'm glad that you're leaving. Thank you, Leo. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And don't
Probably
let the door hit you on the way out.
Mouth of the South, probably too much inconvenient truth about the Democrats and
It wouldn't matter what
slavery
was said
and-
here, Joseph. He would just say the opposite, because he just comes here to cause problems.
No,
But,
he's a perfect
that's okay.
example. Perfect example of the issue was never the issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, a Democrat, a fascicrat, as fascicrats as I call them,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what they said yesterday. Whatever the narrative needs to be today is all that matters. And if it's to be contrarian to you, it can be contrarian to what he said yesterday. He will contradict it. And, oh, I didn't say that yesterday. I've always believed this. You're
Lori
lying.
Lori's saying, "What did Leo do this time?" Lori, it's what he does every time. He comes into the chat. He comes here with the sole purpose of stirring up crap and destroying the channel. That's why we don't do the call-ins as much as we used to. That's why we've got so much trouble in the chat, because he's the problem. But he's still not banned. He's still in there. He said he'd never come back, but there he is. Can't wait for him to come back. He's welcome to come. He's still welcome to come. I just don't know what his freaking problem is. Why does he have, I let him come in there. I let him kick me in the groin every single night. That's all he's here for. It's just ridiculous. But hey, you know what? For all the people who are succumbing to his peer pressure and his bullying and the threats of being excluded from his little group, you go ahead and follow him, because he's just a big bully. That's what he is. And I'm tired of the guy coming into, again, my house and trashing the furniture and pissing on my carpet, and then standing there going, "What? I didn't do anything."
Yeah.
Because that's what he's doing. And
Well, that's what the left
he's
does,
left, so
right?
good.
It's
Not banned.
all-
He'll be back.
Yeah, it's all hate. It's all spite. It's all envy. It's all jealousy. It's all right. They can't earn their own stuff. They want to steal it from you.
I guess so, whatever. But if people here, you want to go over, I don't tell anybody where to go. It's like, you want to go watch that? Go watch whatever show you want, man. You want to go hang out in the chat over it? Go ahead. Do you want to come here? Come here. If you want to be friends with Leo, go ahead. You can still be friends with me. It doesn't bother me at all. Bothers him, though. He doesn't want anybody to be my friend anymore, because he's just like freaking high school. Anyway, enough talk about him. Enough of that. I just noticed him in the chat, going off about you and about everything again, and trashing the furniture and peeing on my carpet. So And
Yeah, and you
but you
can
know what?
see it above my head. Principles before personalities.
See,
Principles, not personalities.
Joseph, really why I asked you to come on tonight was because of Christy Nome. And I know Christy is
You know
your
what?
VP,
I love her. I
dream
love her.
pick, right?
Yep.
And so I wanted to bring you on because I thought, well, you talked about it, and you haven't been on for a while, and she's into trouble now because of her new book. So I had to get you here to ask you some questions about Christy Nome because she
Yeah.
shot her dog.
Well, I am not a cultist for anyone. I don't put on the hyper partisan hat. Obviously, this is an issue now, but so I'm conflicted. I've gone back and forth and all around. There are things I could say to defend her. There are things I could say to, indeed, again, it's a rural urban thing. But now, did she eat the dog like Obama? Of course, putting on my red hat, I gotta say that,
What?
right?
Wait a minute. Obama ate a dog?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know
What? I
that?
don't know that story. What are you talking about?
Yeah. While in Indonesia or whatever, he ate dog. It became
Come
a big.
on.
No, yeah, it's really, you can look it up. He doesn't deny it. It's like eating a dog is okay, but and here's where I defend her a little is the left, of course, wants to focus Alinsky style to attack the just she shot a dog, leaving out the part that it was aggressive and potentially a danger to others. Unlike Biden's two dogs that bit people like crazy and probably should have been put down because they're danger to other people, overly aggressive, should have been put down. But we're not allowed to talk about that. The way she did it, of course, is the problem. But that again is the difference between how things are often done out on the farm
That's right.
versus how you take the dog that's aggressive, might maul a child if you're not careful, and euthanize it. That's the issue here. Of course, the left cannot have that honest conversation. So, yes, it's a problem. Does that knock her down the list? Most likely. It is a liability. But the other thing to say about it is that I think she knew that this was going to be an issue. So you get out front of it. You put it in your book. She could have spun it a little better in her book, right? So let's just be honest. She was a little foolish in the way she was way too honest about it. But I also want to mention about dogs. Romney, remember? Oh my God, Romney put his dog in a crate on. Huh? Have you ever had dogs?
I have a dog.
Yeah, my dogs would have loved to have been in a crate on the roof, soaking up all that air. But yet, that was a problem.
Well, man, I'm going to shoot video of my dog. I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to go for another walk, and I'm going to show people how my dog does maul me every time we go for a walk. My dog does. He's like, he tackles me from behind. I put him on a long leash, right, so he can have some freedom, because I'm all about freedom, right? I'm like, be free, dog. So when we're out walking, he walks around me. It's not really super long, but he's safe. But he'll get behind me, and then he takes a running leap at me and wraps his front legs around my leg, like a little kid, and then you have to like walk down the street dragging him. He loves that crap. I don't know, man. And people are like, what's wrong with your dog? And I'm like, I like it. I guess I do. I think it's hilarious. I love it.
But that is, of course, a far cry from Commander and whatever the other Biden dog is. danger to people constantly biting people.
Yes, that's right. Oh my. So what do you think this like? Okay, let's backtrack a little bit. I think the reason the media came after her so hard is because she was Trump's VP pick. So they used this to try to cancel her before he announced it. What do you think?
I don't have any inside info from people I know as to that. Uh, as you know, I like her for a lot of, but let me say this, because I don't doubt there's people. Well, what about this? Nobody's perfect. Trump isn't perfect. He's got a lot of issues. I'm supporting him. I'm supporting Christie because she's the best choice. And one of the reasons is I don't like identity politics. You don't like identity politics. But Abraham Lincoln didn't get to say, Gettysburg, Schmettysburg. Just let him have it. Sometimes the enemy dictates a battleground you must fight on. So she checks all the right conservative boxes as well as the identity politics boxes. We do need to fight on that battleground, like it or not. You don't just get to surrender. Surrender means lose. So she's right for all the right reasons. Is she perfect? No. Nobody is. Nobody. Not me, not Rick, not any of you watching today. Nobody.
What does Sherry mean so much for Free Speech Channel? What? What did I do now? What did I haven't done anything, Sherry. Like what do you think I did? What is it that I don't know.
Maybe she thinks you Leo's probably in some other X group or something claiming you bounced him or something.
Okay, I see.
Right?
Yeah. No, he's not banned. He's been in there the whole time. He left. I didn't make him leave. He worked himself up into a huff. Whatever, man. I didn't ban him. Go ahead. He's not banned. No, he's been kicking me right in the you know what's every single night he comes in there. That's his purpose in life now, is to hate me. So okay. Doesn't have to be. We could still be friends. He just has to stop kicking me in the groin.
Yeah. Dr. Lee, so Obama shot a dog and ate it? No. He didn't shoot the dog. I didn't say he shot
Somebody
a dog.
else shot the dog. So
you are engaging in leftist spin. Right. Somebody else was growing dogs that we consider part of our family, raising them purposely for slaughter like we would sheep or cow so that Obama could eat a dog. But any other time anybody again does anything to a dog, it's a problem. But Obama eats the dog.
Would you call him a bomb bow wow?
No.
Bow wow, Obama? Bow wow?
Obama. Obamao. Mao, as in China.
Oh, in China. I thought you were like a bow wow doggy boy.
No, that works too, though. That works.
Now you are what you eat. Oh my God. Oh, it's not even funny. That's terrible. You should not eat dogs. You know? No, dogs are not for eating. Dogs are for loving and for playing frisbee with and stuff.
Unless they're danger to others, and yes, sometimes they have to be put down. But again, the left, hypocrisy and double standards, whatever Obama did, whatever, that's great. He's God. He can do anything, right? You know, he could come to Rick's house and get Rick's dog and have his cook.
He's not getting anywhere near my dog. Obama comes to my town, and he ain't gonna mow down on my bow wow. No way. No sir. Obama ain't coming anywhere near my house or my dog, and that's a fact. I'm going to warn my dog. If you see Obama out coming around, you get the heck out of town. You get away from that guy. Stay away from him. He'll eat you. Oh my God. What was so Christy Nome? Can she bounce back from this, or is the mainstream media going to be merciless and never give up on it?
I think she can. She could. Will she? No, I don't have a crystal ball. Again, she's my number one for VP on the list, so
Yeah.
I hope so. But, again, removing partisan hats, obviously the left is going to continue the Alinsky assault, the deflection, the distractions, the distortion, anything and everything to solely focus just the she shot a dog soundbite and no context whatsoever. Meanwhile, again, Biden's dogs are dangerous and biting everybody everywhere all the time.
That's right. That's right. His dogs are biting people. Obama's dogs actually attack people.
Biden's.
Yeah. Biden's dogs. Right. Yeah. Sorry.
And until one of Biden's dogs kills somebody, will be the only time it'll show up on the left radars. Because again, the issue was never the issue, only the revolution. And double standards and hypocrisy will always abound, and lies and distortion is their modus operandi.
This is on X. Somebody posted this saying this is a dog's worst nightmare.
Follow the law in your book. What is the law?
Virtually every state has a law in place that says that animals that attack and kill livestock can be put down in situations like this. But I'll tell you, Sean, to farmers and ranchers, they expect it. They know that once an animal like this starts killing just because they enjoy it, that is a very dangerous animal.
No, she's right again, but you cannot let that context out. They won't have that discussion. I've got a sense of humor. That's funny.
This is brutal. Look at this one. Look at this one.
The Gutfeld, yeah. Well, the Gutfeld show has had a whole week of Kristi Noem jokes. I can laugh at my side. They're funny jokes.
Oh my. I feel so bad for the dog. Oh, this is from Steve Martin. He's like, okay, here, this is him. This is Steve Martin, comedian on X. This is the post with all these dogs sitting in a theater. Everyone move to the front rows. This class can save your life. On the screen behind me is a Kristi Noem. Calm down. Study this face, that snarl, the puffy lips. This Noem is a puppy murderer. Loud barking and howling on your way to pick up a brochure and help. And help yourself to some begging strips. It says, let's be careful out there. Kristi Noem. Man, I don't even think that's that funny, actually. He's losing it. Steve Martin's losing it. He's lost his touch.
Yeah, he's definitely lost many miles per hour off this fastball. I like him in Murders in the Building with Martin Short and is it Gomez? Selena Gomez, I think. He still can be funny if somebody else is writing him his stuff. But yeah, the Gutfeld stuff has been hilarious all week. And, she's fair game for the pot shots as long as indeed someone like a Gutfeld, they do have a segment and indeed talk about the actual overall overriding facts of the whole thing.
Yeah, so the caption on this is that it says Kristi Noem is now claiming the cricket shot first. I guess that's appropriate on May the 4th, since May the 4th be with you. And Han shot first. So here's Here's the clip from Kristi Noem defending herself, I guess, on this point.
Well, Sean, you know how the fake news works. They leave out some or most of the facts of a story. They put the worst spin on it. And that's what's happened in this case. I hope people really do buy this book and they find out the truth of this story, because the truth of this story is that this was a working dog and it was not a puppy. It was a dog that was extremely dangerous. It had come to us from a family who had found her way too aggressive. We were her second chance, and she the day she was put down was a day that she massacred livestock that were part of our neighbors. She attacked me, and it was a hard decision. And the reason it's in the book is because this book is filled with tough, challenging decisions that I've had to make throughout my life. And I hope that people understand from this that what the point of this story is that most politicians, they will run from the truth. They will shy away and hide from making tough decisions. I don't do either of those. I tell the truth and I make tough decisions. People attacked me during COVID for keeping my state open. They called me wrong and attacked me night after night on TV for not doing mandates and not forcing people to get vaccines or wear masks. They're doing it again now with this. I just hope people will read the book, find out the truth, because this was a dangerous animal. And I had a choice between keeping my small children and other people safe or a dangerous animal, and I chose the safety of my children.
Amen. And I agree
You know what?
wholeheartedly with that.
I think she's a tough cookie. That's what I think. I think she is tough.
Yeah, yeah. That everything she said in there, again, the other part, applying it to other things in life, and the mentioning about Ron DeSantis can't say he never shut down Florida. He did. He quickly backpedaled and reversed himself, but he did it. Kristi Noem never had 1 second of lockdown in her state. Not 1 second of masks in her state. Ron DeSantis can't say that. Kristi Noem is the right choice for a whole lot of reasons. And again, let me say it over and over, because someone will go on Twitter. Blah, 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 blah. She's not perfect. Nobody is.
So let's lay it out. Who are the contenders in your view then for Trump's running mate? Is she still there?
Well, again, I certainly hope she's on the list. And Trump needs to look at that. And Trump needs to put that, if she's his pick or one of his picks, in consideration, or even as a decoy to deflect from someone else who may be his pick. That should be on his big screens at his rally, explaining all the facts, the complete context. But yeah, I mean, there are so many. Byron Donalds, well, he can't be VP either because he's from Florida also. I keep getting this, oh, wouldn't it be a dream ticket if it were Trump DeSantis? No, you can't. That's why Dick Cheney had to move from Texas to Wyoming. The president and vice president cannot be from the same state. Or a Byron Donalds, also from Florida, would be up there. Oh, God. I got his Ben Carson. I don't know. I like him for the cabinet again, but as VP, I don't know that he's got the oomph and the put. MTG, oh please, a lot of people. Oh, MTG is AOC with an R by her name. Everyone in
Wait, back that one up. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
If you want red meat spewed, she's your gal. It's like AOC. She's great for left-wing talking points, but no one in D.C. really takes her seriously. Everyone knows if you want Trump red meat spewed, she's the go-to. But to actually get anything done or that knows anything, really?
So what you're saying is she's very bombastic, but not full of substance. Not to say that she's aligned with AOC on the issues.
No, exactly.
Okay.
No,
right.
She is the right wing version of the left wing AOC. Again, a lot of talk, no real underlying substance is not taking seriously within the respective party to which they belong. But
Yeah.
a lot of people think, well, that's what we need for VP, right? Somebody to be the attack dog on the campaign trail. Well, if that's your criteria, yeah, she's the top of the list. But I want a serious person who can immediately take over 4 years from now for 8 years to continue the MAGA agenda. So other, serious ones, I'm drawing a blank. I mean, there are several. There are a few really good choices. Uh,
Tulsi
Doug,
Gabbard, is she still in
no,
play? No.
no, 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 no. World Economic Forum stooge. The only reason she left the Democrat Party was to potentially be Trump's VP because that's her only path to power. To play the bipartisan or I'm nonpartisan, a unity left right ticket, no. Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum stooge, wouldn't trust her as dog catcher. She might shoot a dog.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and I don't know if I should, but I'm going to go way on a limb, take a huge risk here, and I'm going to throw something out, and it's a curveball. All right, are you ready?
Okay.
Because a lot of people, well, I don't know how many, but there are people out there who really take this seriously. Some. Most people are going to say it's crazy.
RFK, you're not going to
No,
say
no, 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 no,
RFK,
no, 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 no. You're getting warmer though. You're getting warmer. And somebody sent me a video last night, and Alex Jones, I guess, was commenting on this. It was on some program, and this came up again. So I'm going to throw it out there. I'll just get your thoughts. Are you ready? Get your catcher's mitt out. I'm gonna chuck one in there. Here comes your curveball. Have a good eye. It's fast coming in. It's like over 80 miles an hour. 85. John F. Kennedy Jr.
Well, that would be interesting. But again, at this point, I
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, not RFK, right?
John F. Kennedy Jr. I can't get away from it. People keep emailing me and sending me videos. Alex Jones is talking about it. I mean, like, Joseph, help me out here. What the heck's going on?
Isn't he still missing or dead?
That's the last I heard, but there are a lot of people out there who think he's coming back, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, Elvis is still in Kalamazoo, Michigan, with Jim Morrison. Either one of those could be VP. Also, I guess.
I hate to even talk about it. It seems
so woohoo
distasteful to even bring it. But it just keeps coming. It's like the story that just won't go away.
Yeah.
It's, connected to Q, of course. So I don't. Why is this going? Like, why do people keep bringing this up? Like, is now look? They never found his body, right?
Right.
And this is like Truspiracies episode stuff, because we do this. I don't know if you've seen. I've been doing these Truspiracies programs where we take news that's it's so true it's unbelievable, right? That's what the slogan for that one is. But I don't know. People just won't let it go. Some people just won't let it go. They insist this is a real thing.
Yeah. Well, again, to put that aside. But to talk about the more serious aspect, they're still groping for this unity ticket that concept, right?
Yeah.
Now, John McCain, I like Sarah Palin. I thought she was a good choice for many reasons also. Yeah. But
and Lori says that Tulsi is not WEF.
Yeah.
And you saying it, that's the first I've heard that. But is she a member of the WEF? Has she been there?
as best I
To Davos?
understand. She's been to Davos, yeah. But so anyway, but McCain would have chose Lieberman. I would have been on board with that. And Lieberman, of course, just because Lieberman was one of the last of the very, very, very last, even remotely reasonable Democrats left. So anybody that is a Democrat or was even recently, for that reason alone, put the WEF stuff about Tulsi aside. Because I've met her, I've talked to her when she was in town for Tudor Dixon. So do I like her campaigning for Republicans? Yes, it's helpful. I don't trust her. Anyone who's been recently a Democrat, no, you're off the list.
Dr. Drew. This is his website, drdrew.com. Tulsi Gabbard on WEF Young Global Leaders. The truth about her World Economic Forum ties. Ask Dr. Drew. Well, if anybody's going to know, it'll be Dr. Drew. It says Tulsi Gabbard is a target of conspiracy theories after her photo appeared as a young global leader on the World Economic Forum website. But the real story goes much deeper. Tulsi reveals the truth. Shocking reports link 2020 presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard to the WEF, a globalist organization founded by Klaus Schwab, and painted her as a controlled opposition agent in service to the New World Order. Despite publicly leaving the Democratic Party in 2022, Tulsi is subjected to constant attacks after her name and photo appeared as a young global leader on the World Economic Forum's website. What's the truth? Quote, I've never gone to any of their events, says Tulsi Gabbard on the November 25th episode of Ask Dr. Drew. I've literally not had anything to do with the World Economic Forum. She's never been invited to Davos, but if she ever was, Tulsi says she'd go and speak the same kind of truth to them as I speak to anyone else, she says, because I think it's important that we not just live within our own echo chambers, but we actually go out and vigorously engage in this marketplace of ideas. Look at my record, she says. I have been talking about and warning against the very things that these people are pushing. So how did the WEF get permission to use Tulsi Gabbard's name and photo on their website? They didn't. I was never asked to join, explains Tulsi. I was never informed by them that they had put my name or picture on their website. The reason why people are concerned about this is actually very important, she continues. I'm glad to just make clear that there is no connection between me and the World Economic Forum.
Well, again, she ran for president recently as a
Joseph,
Democrat.
don't you be contradicting Dr. Drew, man.
She
He's an
ran for
authority on the
president
subject.
as a Democrat. She knew she was going to go nowhere as a Democrat. Her concern is power. So she left the Democrat Party to position to be a potential as a VP for Trump, her only in to the power. I just cannot trust her.
Yeah, and Lori says that JFK's body was recovered. So I stand corrected, and she would know. Yeah, it's quite true. Divers recovered the bodies of Kennedy, Carolyn, and Lauren from 116 feet of water on July 21st, 1999.
Body doubles. Body doubles.
Oh yeah. See, I
If we're gonna let's feed the conspiracy, Rick.
it
The
was
body doubles.
too
It's
long
fake.
ago for me,
It's
man.
fake.
I forgot. I literally have forgotten way more than I know. I remember the plane crash. I remember, but I'm Canadian, so it was like over there in the periphery. I remember it all. I felt bad about it. He seemed like there was a bright future ahead of him, and maybe a future president. But America lost a whole lot when they lost John F. Kennedy Jr. And this whole thing about him coming back to be Trump's running mate, I don't know. I don't get why people are so attached to this stuff. But
It's going to be Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I'm
The
a
alien ship that's had him on it for the last ever many years are going to land in the desert at that mashed potato structure. He's going to walk out and announce, "Yes, I am Trump's VP pick."
Yeah, So, but here's the thing. I'm gonna share something with you that potentially could blow some minds. People do keep sending me this stuff. Like they're relentless. So I've been sent photos.
Well, you said Q. Let me just go on the record. When I was targeted by Hillary and Politico on Twitter in 2016, Q and the Q Army rallied around us and fought back. So I have an affinity to some of the Q Army. But again, I am part of no cult. To me, there are some QAnoners that are generally curious and want to know truth. And then there are the QAnutters, as I call them. And it sounds like you've got direct link to the QAnutters.
Well, I'll tell you, I've had some people send me photos, right, of what they say are current photos of John F. Kennedy Jr. And they've said, this is him. And so what I've done is I've taken those photos and I've run facial recognition on them to verify whether it's the same person. You want to know what I found out?
Wow. I could believe it either way because you could deep fake that easily. So it wouldn't surprise me if you're going to tell me that facial recognition says it's him, because
Yes.
if you're doing a deep fake, you would be using images to indeed age him to have the facial recognition there.
Precisely. So yes, some of these did come back positive, but as I looked at them, even though it appears as though he's aged, facial hair, things like that, and some of these photos that came back with a positive facial recognition saying that's a positive ID, like 93% kind of positive ID, and it looks like it's JFK but Jr. but older. That's the way I think that it's being done, is with Photoshop or artificial intelligence to create from archived images new images that make him look older.
Yeah. Yeah. They could take either of us and age us 20 years. And again, because they're using root real images to then model an aged version of us, of course, facial recognition would likely say, I think it's them.
Yeah. So the thing is, we've heard these stories before. We keep hearing that JFK Jr. is coming back. He's coming back, and then, and there are actually, many occasions there have been dates when people think that he's going to appear and make an announcement, and groups of people show up, and then it never happens. And so I don't know. Like this time around, these people are saying that he's going to appear, and he will be announced as Donald Trump's running mate.
Yeah.
Well, but if that doesn't happen, will that then finally convince them that he's not alive anymore? Probably not.
Well, Bond said in the chat, I see, AI is not that smart and people shouldn't put too much trust in it. Well, I agree and disagree. As a former IT guy, I know what AI is capable of. So, yes, no, don't trust it at all. It's a potential threat. Is it that smart? No, in a sense it's not, but it's very capable. It can do so many bazillions of potential computations and actions in a nanosecond that it is dangerous. What the problem is, it's more dangerous when you have idiots like are behind Google behind it for evil. So yeah, AI, you're right, Bon. In many respects, it's just a tool. It is what we do with it, unless if such time, the singularity and it becomes self aware and, all that stuff.
Well, we're talking about this on the wrong program. I should have saved all this for True Spiracies. News so true, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll have
Welcome
a
to. Welcome to the Rick Alex Jones Walker Show.
yeah. But what I'm trying to do with that program is actually like not like promote conspiracies, just
Right.
find news that's so wacky, but tell the truth about it, right? And if it is a conspiracy, expose it, or if
Yeah.
people are believing something that isn't true, like expose that, or if it is just crazy stuff that is true, I'll tell people it's true. And a lot, I tell you, the last episode, all the really, 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 really wacky stuff was all true. And some of the stuff that didn't seem so wacky wasn't true. That's,
Yeah.
truth
Well,
is stranger than
it's
fiction.
like aliens and UFOs. I am conflicted on all that. As a Christian, I recognize the Bible does not say in Genesis, and God created life on earth, and only on earth created life He. It doesn't say that. Angels existed before God created the earth and our solar system. By definition, other life existed before us then. By definition, they were not of our planet, they are extraterrestrial. So, could they exist? Yes. Do I, in a way, hope they exist? Yes. Do I believe all of this nonsense, pro and con? No.
Well,
like
you got to come on for the True Spiracies episode, and we can talk about all that stuff over there. But let's try and steer this back into the mainstream just a little bit. Not that we're entirely mainstream, mind you, because there are a couple of crazy and what's the wild and crazy guys,
Wild
just
and
like
crazy
Steve Martin.
guys.
Right? But
Call back. You mentioned Steve Martin earlier.
Okay. So, all right. So I asked Joseph to come on and talk about Christy Nome. We've talked about the Palestine thing, and I'm sure I'm just going to throw it out there. But you guys want Joseph to stick around and keep on talking? Yeah. Okay.
I can hang around a little while more. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, and we'll have to get ready to do Lori's show after as well, me, because she's got a special guest on tonight. Oh, I can't remember who the guest is, and I haven't had time to prepare. I got it I can't remember. Anyway, it's going to be a good show. Strange Bedfellows at 9 p.m. tonight. But anyway, just to let you guys know.
I've got a Twatter X space that I've got to go into at 8:30. So
Yeah, well,
I
we're
got
going to probably
a little
wrap
while.
up about 8:30, so we've got
Okay.
so that's cool. But let's move on here to Zelensky, because
Oh, of
Russia has put him on their wanted list. So,
which generally you don't directly target the leader of another nation. I've never quite understood and figured that out. Part of me understands why that's militaristically stupid. You might martyr them and rally their people as they've been martyred. So that I think is in general military pun intended, why you don't do those sorts of things. The military code of conduct, there's some sense and reason behind that. But I mean,
I don't know, Joseph. Like it seems it's like it's getting to be routine, because there are other leaders that they want arrested right now too.
well, I was going to go into
Netanyahu and
Yeah.
all the leaders in Israel, and
Well-
now they want Zelensky, and actually Vladimir Putin is wanted by the ICC, and who else is wanted by the ICC? Oh, George Bush. Like, I don't know where it ends, right? But
Well-
like they're all wanted
For potential war crimes, that's a other thing, and have an actual trial than targeting for assassination.
Yeah, so here it is, ABC. Russia puts Ukrainian President Zelensky on its wanted list. This is being reported widely. This is actually an Associated Press version of the story shared through ABC's website. So they put Vladimir Zelensky on its wanted list. Russia's state media reported today. Um, he's wanted on unspecified criminal charges, along with Ukraine's ground forces commander, General Alexander Pavlyuk. Not clarifying the allegations against any of these men, but they want them. If I were either of them, I would not want to fall into Russian hands, given what's going on over there. They have laws over in Russia criminalizing the rehabilitation of Nazism. That
Yeah,
includes
well,
punishing the desecration of war memorials. So I'm sure that if they got a hold of Zelensky, they would throw their book at him for sure.
yeah, that's that whole we're denazifying rhetoric. One of the umpteen million excuses thrown at the wall like spaghetti to see what sticks, right? If Putin wants to denazify somewhere, invade California. There's still more neo Nazis there, I will say it over and over, than there are in Ukraine.
Yeah, there's Lori saying that it's Kenneth Jefferson. That's right. Thank you, Lori. Um, he's a filmmaker. His movie, I guess we'll be talking a bit about that, is Fatal Error. And I think we're going to get into issues like racism and intolerance and the challenges facing the black community, black population in America because of politics and changes in culture and
Yeah.
religion and family values and things like that. So I think that's
Well,
what his whole
let's
focus is.
let's go back to the Zelensky thing.
Sure.
What you want to talk about supporting Nazism? Let's go there. Russia and China supporting Iran, which is behind Hamas and Hezbollah, who literally want to recreate the concentration camps. They are backing people who are descendants of actual Nazis who were allied with the Nazis. You could find the picture of the Mufti meeting with Hitler. A lot of the Arab states at that time, or territories, not officially states, till broken up and divided up after World War II, but they were allied with Hitler and the Nazis because they agreed with the whole extermination of the Jews thing. So if you want to tie those directly supporting Nazis, it's the twits on our campuses and Putin and Xi backing Iran, Hamas, and Hezbollah. Actual Nazis. Iran, derived from Aryan. Does that sound at all familiar?
You know, Joseph, you speak a lot of truth, and it's difficult for people to follow you and understand you because it's all so crazy. I mean, it is.
It sounds conspiracy.
It does actually, but there
It's
is.
fact. It's
Yeah,
fact.
and it's because these Arab nations like Iran, they've adopted, well, they are Islamo-fascistic. They they've merged Islamic culture, ideology, religion with authoritarian statism,
Yep.
nationalism.
The
So
jihadist version of Islam is Islamo-fascist, absolutely. And again, it's also true, dealing in history here. Yes, the U.S. and Iran when the Shah was in charge, and yes, We helped bring him to power, and the Iranians experienced freedom. You could see the pictures in the 70s of the women on their beaches in bikinis. We supported them as a more secular society. And of course, now that the Islamo fascist revolution
Well,
overthrew them, Russia and China are their allies.
how would you respond to people who say that the United States was an imperialist power that was propping up the regime in Iran that was pro-American prior to its falling and the Ayatollahs taking over?
We were. We were. Yeah, absolutely. We were.
At least you're honest.
What do you expect? I just said that. We were allied with the Shah. We helped put him in power. We helped try to keep him in power. Not because of the Cold War in part and geopolitical alliances of that nature, as well as aren't we supposed to be the freedom loving people and wanting them to have their own freedom of choices there, unlike no choices under the Islamo fascism they have today? So, yes. Did we? Yes. I don't come here to lie and spin.
Very interesting stuff. How do you feel? What is your feeling personally on Nazism?
We defeated it. We defeated the nation that most represented it, but it's tough to defeat an ideology entirely. It's never going to be fully wiped out. But being of German descent and German family that escaped World War I, still then had family there in World War II. None of them were Nazis. I've said this over and over again. I oppose all left-wingism governments. Fascism, Nazism, communism, socialism, monarchy. I oppose all those leftist ideologies, full stop, period. I support Israel.
Okay, so a lot of people would put Nazism, fascism on the right side of the political spectrum. I don't do that either.
Let me debunk that. That's a left-wing talking point. Part of the distortion, distraction, deflection. What is Nazism, fascism? It is full top-down government control. That's leftist. On the right side of the spectrum, the farthest right is anarchy. And I've written on this several times because Antifa calls himself Antifa is false flagish to disguise that they are the fascists because they use anarchist tactics normally associated with anarchists does not make them anarchists. They use that tactic to try to tear down the West so they can bring in a left-wing, full fascist government. Total control.
I'm just interested, and I don't mean to put you on the spot because I didn't tell you we were going to talk about this, and this is so it might be difficult to give me a finely crafted answer here, but how do you define Nazism? Or do you need time to think about it?
Again, I mean,
It's kind of a complex question, actually. It might seem simple, but there's more to it than, the Steven Spielberg or Hogan's Heroes cliched guy in a suit, in a Nazi uniform.
Again, and I might get myself in trouble because I'm willing to play the what ifs and the both sidesism.
I don't want you to get yourself into trouble because I've asked you a question out of the blue, and it's this is a minefield, right? So I don't want to sabotage you here, sir.
Let me
I'm just trying to help clarify things for the public.
I want to answer it, but let me answer it in this way. Let's just put ourselves in 1930s again, right? We've got to look at what they were. Now, there was Mussolini El Duce fascism, there was German fascism, there was Franco fascism. So they alone can't agree necessarily totally on what fascism or Nazism is.
Comes in different flavors, just like communism, actually, and socialism. It's like,
yes, if you were to poll the people in Germany in the 1930s, and again, it's estimated that only 7% of Germans were actual Nazis. Look how that turned out. The same argument about Islamofascism. We're not talking about all Muslims. If only 10% of the how many billion Muslims are actually Islamofascists, that's a problem.
Okay.
But they would have
Pause.
defined it differently. They wouldn't have given you the same answer in 1930s Germany. It was different things to different people.
Well, and in the 1930s, people did not have the benefit of hindsight, right? So they're getting
Exact.
trapped in crazy ideas that they'd never maybe been exposed to in that way before. So lessons
Yeah.
to be learned still instead of history to learn from.
Yeah.
But the question I had is, you mentioned only 7% of the population in Germany was actually Nazis. Like, I don't know where that comes from. Was that just something you kind of remembered from the top of your head, or do you have more ways to clarify that?
I don't know where the stat came from, and it's not like there was Rasmussen polls operating in 1930s Germany.
Huge
7%.
crowds out for those rallies, like
Yeah.
are all those people
Well,
Nazis, like they're supporting Hitler,
no.
but I mean, like, but
A lot of
mass
them-
mob mentality. It's like,
Yeah.
people being
A lot
led
of them
around by
were
the nose.
just a lot of them were probably just happy Hitler had the trains running on time, right? Hey, it was a good life. It was like the roaring 20s in the US for a while in Germany 30s. A lot of people got caught up that were not of the let's slaughter all the Jews mentality.
But look what's going on right now, Joseph. And I mean, you can comment on this, but I'm alarmed because I see people that a couple of years ago would never have said the kinds of things that they're saying right now. And I mean, they've like changed, or maybe I don't know if it's because they always had these thoughts inside and now they seem to feel like they have permission to let it out, or if there's some psychosis going on where they're following the mob, like they're part of the mob mentality, kind of like what we saw during the pandemic when people were turning on their neighbors and screaming at people because they didn't have a mask on. And it's like it just crazy stuff. Like they've all gone nuts. And I just see all this bigotry and hatred and division and prejudice and anti-Jew talk and like, you're a Zionist, which means, you know what it really means. Like,
Yeah.
So are those people Nazis, or are they being manipulated psychologically? And if they, like, what point do you start to lay blame? Like these young guys I showed earlier tonight, harassing, intimidating, bullying that Jewish student who was just trying to get onto campus, and they're threatening to beat him up. And like those guys, that even if they are just psychologically manipulated, like they've got a serious freaking problem. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's unacceptable. We need to stop that. But at what point do you start to, this is a difficult question. Where do you start to lay blame? Where do you begin to forgive people? What constitutes somebody being an actual Nazi? Do you have to put the uniform on with the swastika, or is it what's in your heart, or is it how you feel, what you think, how do you classify someone when you don't even really know what's in their minds, unless it's Minority Report time and we start to read people's minds and have pre-crimes and judge people based on, I don't know, what they've said online or social media and try to, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I tried to separate again. You try to put yourself in that time, and it was different. Like you said, we all have the hindsight perspective now. And Nazism today is pretty much clear anti Semitic. We want to kill all Jews. I mean, the bottom line comes to that usually.
So you're
And they're supporting that. They're supporting that.
Here's what I want to clarify with you, right? You're a Christitutionalist, you say. So that's a kind of a term that you've adopted, but I'd say you're conservative. Is that accurate?
Yeah, well, I invented Christitutionalist because, of course, conservative, liberal. I'm like Reagan. Reagan said, I don't want the right paradigm bring me up down. Does it lift up the people or does it lift up government and tear down freedoms? So I wanted to introduce that new paradigm also to get away from liberal conservative that have become slurs. So I created Christitutionalist, Christian-based constitutionalism.
So that would alarm some people immediately, just because you get that Christian in there. So they're automatically probably thinking that you're some sort of a white Christian nationalist, white supremacist or something.
No. Exactly. But again, what they don't understand, they automatically want to slur, right? So, I agree. There is that problem or concern. They could try to associate that. That is not what it is. I am all about, like I say on the back of the book, the Jeffersonian letter, the left bastardization of his letter. It's not in our founding documents about the federal government cannot establish its own official religion. The states could, and many of the states did. There's not a separation of church and state, and the left want separation from church to state. So Christitutionalism, if you want to put an ism on the end, is all about our Judeo-Christian foundations.
I would, you combine religion with state power, and you really combine them. Okay, like Islamofascism. And let me finish. You combine those two things, and if you're looking at something like they have in Iran, that in my mind is very fascistic because you've combined these things, but it's mandatory, right? This and the laws that they have in Iran are derived from Islamism, right? So, because that forms the actual, that is the final word on the law, is the religion, right? And because it's more authoritarian and it overarches and they're so entwined, that to me is a very fascistic thing. And America, even though it's you have a foundation of Judeo-Christian values, it's not mandatory. People can have any religion they want. And even though it's founded with those principles, you can be a Muslim, you can be a Buddhist, you can be anything you want. And that's enshrined as well in what the founding fathers wanted. That's what America has been about. So that, in my mind, is not fascistic, even though there's a religious element to the Constitution, to government, to the founding of the country. It's not fascistic in that sense.
The Constitutionalist is the latter, not the former. I'm not talking about merging Christianity and the state. It is anti-federalist. It is, even though most of our laws are indeed based on biblical tenets, thou shalt not murder. It's not thou shalt not kill. It's thou shalt not murder innocents. Biblical self-defense, it's in there. You can, the death penalty, Genesis, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, thou shalt, those who kill, thou, bleh, thou who sheddeth man's blood shall have his blood sheddeth by man back, more or less, right? The death penalty is biblical. So killing is acceptable in certain situations. Murder of innocents is not. And yes, this is very much an anti-federalist movement. Smaller government, not merging Christianity with an all, like the Purge, like the idiots on the left like to point to the Purge films and say anyone who's a Christian wants a theological fascistic state, like you're talking about, based on Christianity, like the Islamofascism is based on a warped aspects of Islam. So yeah, no,
Well,
not that.
so this is a good conversation. I'm glad we had this, because what we've been able to firmly establish here is that you are not a Nazi.
I, you know, again, I still have no doubt someone after this show will be on Twitter. Blah, 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 blah. He's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. And you know who I'm talking about.
Well, that's okay. But I just wanted to establish that, since we were in the conversation anyway. And since you're not a Nazi, I guess you can come back.
Well, again, certain people have to use that Alinsky tactic, right? They can't win on the merits of discussions.
Well,
so,
it's cool, man. Like, I love you, and that's just all there is to that. So I know what you're all about, and I think that you're very freedom oriented. You're limited government, I think, generally
absolutely,
speaking.
yes.
And
I'm not no government.
You're certainly not an anarchist.
Yeah, I'm not an anarchist. I'm to the left of the far right and absolutely opposed to, again, all the leftist top-down tyranny, fascism, communism, socialism, monarchy.
Authoritarian.
Authoritarian. Yeah. That consolidates power in a small group of people. That's all leftism. And I oppose every version of that whatsoever. And we're getting to like 8:30.
We are. It's time to wrap up. So I'm gonna leave it to you for a final word as we wrap up for the evening, sir.
Well, you know what? Just to lighten it up. I saw The Fall Guy at the theater the other day. Loved the movie.
The Fall Guy.
The Fall Guy,
based on the TV show.
Yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not even paying attention. I didn't know they did that.
Great. Any and every excuse to find a way to get an extra stunt in, because it is, of course, dedicated to stunt people. The whole point of the film. It's a blast. It's so,
really,
action, explosions, way over. Some drama and romance.
Is Lee Majors in it? Does he make a cameo?
Well, I shouldn't say it, but yes, he makes a cameo. There are I will say that because I won't spoil other cameos at the end, though. Okay. There's a real surprising one that's kind of fun at the end that you won't see coming. But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's great, wild, over the top stuff. And because, yes, I love the Fall Guy TV series.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll have to check it out. I didn't even know I don't pay much attention to Hollywood stuff anymore.
I've got an article on thelibertybeacon.com. Occasional distractions, not only okay, but healthy. It's if you're in the bread and circus 24/7, that's a big problem. But we all need occasional escapism.
True enough, sir. Well, there you have it, folks. Love all you guys. Love you, Joseph. Thank you for coming on tonight and helping us with the dead dog story. That was fantastic, sir. I'll let you go, and I will wrap up for the night. And I'll
All
let you
right.
get on to your other podcast.
Love you, brother. Take care. God
Okay,
bless.
see you, man. See ya. And there you have it. And if you would like to support the program, she woke up this morning. Her dog was dead. She went and shot him right in the head. She's Kristen Nome. Sorry, I had to do it. Just terrible. Oh my goodness. I'll be back tomorrow night, guys. If you want to support the show, you can do that by donating at maverickdonations.com or over at freedomreporters.com. I did receive a couple of donations in the last week, and I am so appreciative, and I need to get around to sending out my thank you emails. I'll be doing that hopefully in the next day or two. I'm just so darn busy. It's hard to keep up. So I'll just say thank you right here. More helpful than you can possibly know. Really, really, really helpful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And you can support the channel at freedomreporters.com, folks. And make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you subscribe over on YouTube. And yeah, please take a look over there at our Rumble channels. And subscribe over there too, because that's the free speech platform. And we ain't going to get banned over there as we have been on Facebook. That being said, I will be back tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. Maverick News Channel. Catch y'all on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.